Hello. It has been a really long time. I know only technically I haven't talked to you for almost it's only 2 weeks, isn't it? It might be 3. I don't know. It's been a long time. So today I just I endured the heat and I picked a bunch of my flowers to make arrangements this afternoon, a little bit after the live. I think I'll put the arrangements together. And I am having such a good time working with flowers. I mean, it's not a new thing for me how much I enjoy flowers. I've always known it. I helped my mom when I was little. When she was working at a florist shop, I was there, and I probably was in the way, but I had a good time doing it. Oh, hey, Jason. And I saw Kate said hi, but she's not here. Anyway, so I've always really liked playing with flowers. Oh, hey, Thorhaven Farm. You're so welcome anytime. They message me on Facebook when they have a bee issue, which is totally cool. So I've been trying to sell my flower arrangements. I have a lot of people say they're really awesome, but I haven't had anybody quite follow through yet. Oh, hey, Kate. I'm glad you are here. It said there was only one person here, so I wasn't sure. I don't know. I just figured there was nobody here because that's kind of been how it's been. But so trying to sell, have had some verbal interest, but no one has followed through. And since the flowers are there already and I enjoy the flowers, I may as well make arrangements to take pictures of, and I'll just hoard them for myself and enjoy them because I do. Hi, Bridget. So I made 4 flower arrangements last Friday or Thursday, and they did really well. They're still doing pretty well. I could probably cut them and give them some new water, but I want to reuse the jars for this week's flowers. So I don't know. I'm going to have to put something down in the bedroom, which is the coolest place in the house right now. We have, I think it's 100. It's supposed to be 103 today. And it's hot outside. And I got outside to do the flower harvesting a little bit later than I wanted. So Thorhaven Farm, how are your guys' bees doing now? Did you go back in since Bridget messaged me? I don't know. But so tell me what has been good with you guys this last couple weeks. I know that first week was a surprise that I didn't do a lot, but I had a really bad headache and I wasn't feeling well. So I was just I'm just not going to do it. I have a headache today, but it's not as bad as it was. And if I didn't do it today, I don't know if I would do it again. Got to build that habit back up. And then my mom visited last weekend and we went to, you had to buy 2 queens and you'll check if they are still alive. Right on. Oops, sorry. I don't yawn all day that I sit down. I took her to a flower farm. She had no idea. I kept it a secret. I made this arrangement there, and it's still going pretty good. Wrong side. Some of the flowers are drooping, but the water, I need to replace the water. These ones are doing really good. So it's just been really interesting to see how long the flowers stay okay. We had a good time picking flowers at the flower farm, and we were all giddy, and my mom was super surprised, and she was like, this was so cool, and I was like, I know, and we had a good time. And then on Saturday, I just didn't feel good, I think, which was unfortunate. I ended up taking a nap that day, and everything. Oh, and I don't know if you guys, I've been trying to post more frequently on my community tab. But I don't get like a ton of interaction. So do let me know if you guys are seeing that, if you like it, because it's kind of like the only thing I can do sometimes. So I've been trying to keep up with that. And I did tell you that I am officially a certified journeyman beekeeper through Oregon State Master Beekeeping Program. I'm not going to continue on to the master portion because it's doing a lot of stuff that I don't like doing, like reading research papers and writing papers and doing your own research. And I'm just like, not my deal. So journeyman is fine for me. That day, that day was really hard. It was rainy. Of course, like the only day this summer, basically, that had like any like substantial rain. It had to be the day when we're supposed to inspect someone else's hives under pressure, because I had like judges watching me inspect a hive, and I was supposed to do it within a certain period of time. And apparently I went over that time, which I didn't realize, which I never realized I'm in a hive for very long anyway. So I felt like I found what I needed to find, and the bees were getting really upset. So they were going at my hands, which was something new for me. It was kind of really scary because I've never really had bees be aggressive towards me, and especially my own bees. My bees are just like so lax, like I don't even understand. Like I was like, I must be the bee whisperer or something. But then, doing that hive check in a day that was bad weather, had it not been something I had to do or postpone it for another year, I would have chosen not to. I kind of got some flack for that in general from some people, that they're like, beekeeping isn't dependent on weather. And I was like, what are you talking about? You don't have to check your bees when it's raining or cloudy. Like you don't have to. Like maybe if you're a commercial beekeeper and you have like such a stringent like schedule or something, but in my opinion, even then you don't have to. Maybe you need to because of your time frame, but you don't have to, right? So I was really upset already that I had to do this thing. And but that hive was looking pretty good. But they were just like, you shouldn't be, you should be able to check bees under any weather. And I was like, I don't know about that. It's a good thing I'm not, I go by what I feel the bees need. And so whatever, I passed. But anyway, after closing up that colony, the bees were following me like a lot. Like I was trying to walk away. Usually they'll like lose interest or something and go away, but they were following me for like 10 minutes, and I was trying so hard to get them to go away, and trying to get them to go away, and they kept following me. And I closed one in my hand, and that was the first time I've ever done that. And so I got stung like right here, and my hand only swelled up a little bit, so it wasn't as bad as I thought. It did hurt. So this is the first time I've ever been stung by a honeybee. Second time I've ever been stung by anything. Just for context, I've been playing with bees since 2015. I've had my own hives since 2018. And this is 2 weeks ago or whatever, I got my first sting ever. Okay, first honeybee sting. So I felt that it hurt worse than getting stung by a yellow jacket, but I think maybe that's location dependent, because I got stung by the yellow jacket here on the inside of my arm, and I got stung by the bee like right on my joint. And so that was pretty painful. And I felt so silly because I was so anxious that whole time. And then like when the bee stung me, like it put me over the edge of anxiety, and like I just started crying. And it wasn't because it hurt. Like it hurt a little bit, but like not like bad. But I cried because just like everything that was like the culmination, the tipping point, and it just like all came out, and I was like, I am so sorry, like I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be crying at you right now. Like, this is the first time I've been stung. I had this amazing 6-year record, and now everything's down the toilet, and it wasn't even like I wasn't even in the beehive anymore. I wasn't in the colony anymore, and I got stung, and it wasn't even her fault. It was my fault, because I usually try to keep everything like closed, like I keep my arms and legs together so that if a bee flies, like they don't get stuck and sting me. But just a second, I think I just had my hand open for a second, and she got in, and I closed it, and I was like, I got stung. And I'm sure it was a little ridiculous. And I was like, you better not write that down, because we've been done inspecting for a while, okay? Like, and then I had to do like a paper exam where we had to look at frames, like real frames, and determine like the issues on it based on questions and stuff like that. And we had to answer questions about some treatments for mites, and then some questions on the regulations for labeling honey in Oregon. But it was, it was that. Well, if the updates were just for Facebook and Instagram, then YouTube wouldn't have them available. So that's what the community tab is for. I'm sorry you don't like it, but I don't care. No, I'm kidding. I do care a little bit. I'm sorry you feel that way. But sometimes it is all that people can do, which is kind of all that I can do right now, with stuff going on here and everything. So I figure it's probably better than nothing posting on the community tab. Hey, Bruce. And so that was probably like the whole like practical exam thing. It was pretty stressful. I got to meet, or I've met him before, but I got to see Dewey Karen, and he makes a book, Beekeeping and Bee Biology, or Bee Biology and Beekeeping, Dewey Karen. And I think it's a great book because it's like a textbook, so it's really easy to find information that you need. And I like it in general as a book for beekeeping information. I have it. It's Honeybee Biology and Beekeeping. That is the title. Sorry, it's like buried, so I can't grab it right now. But so he was there. It was kind of cool because he graded the exam portion. And anyway, so I was like, I couldn't even be really happy that day because I knew I passed, because they told me right away. But I was so upset that I got stuck. And it was just like really upsetting for me. I'm still not at the point where I'm like, yay, I did this thing and I passed, and yay. I'm still a little bit upset at the situation in general, but that's okay. It's done. It's over with. I don't have to do it again. I'm officially certified in Oregon. It was cool. It was a good educational program. I'm not sure if I would have done the journeyman portion now that I know about it. It's still really, really informational. But yeah, it was cool. The apprentice portion for the Oregon State Master Beekeeping Program I liked it better because we were in class. We were like going to classes and learning that way, which is how I learn best myself. I'm not very good at being self-propelled learning wise. So yeah, so that was like the most exciting thing. And Dan and I are going to take our first really long vacation. We've been planning it for the last 3 weeks. Our first really real vacation that wasn't like because of for someone else. Like, we went to my grandparents a couple times because they needed us to go down there, and we went to the coast one time because my mom was getting married. That was in 2016, and so we haven't done anything for us, and so we are going to the Virgin Islands next year at the beginning in the spring. And of course I'll post when I won't be here, because we'll be there for 2 weeks. So I think I'll miss 2 Fridays for lives, probably, unless I'm like, for some reason, need to be inside, or is it storming, then we'll go live, and then we'll see. We're really excited because we haven't done anything for us like that in like 8 years. So other than going to my grandparents like 2 or 3 times in the last, since 2016, we haven't left the property together in a vacation since then. And so we're really excited to check it out. We've never been there. Yeah, I'll have to use the community tab when I'm gone. Is that what you're saying? But I'm really excited, and it should be really fun. And we're thinking about, I'm going to get a GoPro specifically for the trip, because we want to do some snorkeling. So I was like, well, let's get a waterproof camera. Why not? Let's have that excuse. And so I was thinking, I think they have a sale going on right now. So like $150 off or something. So I think we'll get the GoPro, and then I'll have it, for here too. And yeah, I don't know. I think I went through all of my news. Today is really warm. This week has been really warm here. It's really smoky. I don't even know. I didn't even keep up with the wildfires. Like, I don't know where they are right now or anything. I just know that they are, because it's so smoky. Oh, sorry. The only benefit is, I think it makes it to where it's not quite as warm as it would be, because like I said, I think it was supposed to be 103 today. And that means here at my house specifically, we're always a little bit warmer. So I was like, it will be anywhere between 105 and 110 degrees here today. But we have a really thick smoke cloud covering the sun. So we'll see. I don't know. I haven't looked at the temps in a couple hours. I'm really excited to put my flower bouquets together. It's so much fun. I'm learning how, that's it. I'm learning how to get more people interested, which I don't really know how to do yet. Sometimes, when you start something new, you're like, oh yeah, this will be no problem. And I'm like, I thought they'd be gone right away. But they're not, and that's fine. But at least they're pretty. But I am working on, I'm pretty excited. To bring that back to gardening and stuff, I'm pretty excited because I'm buying seeds and gonna plant, and hopefully I'll actually follow through. Sometimes I don't with my own stuff, but I'll be making 3 more raised beds, but not the metal ones. I think I'll just do my cinder block raised beds, because they're considerably cheaper and easier. Physically, no, they're not physically easier, because they're 20 pounds each or something. They're just technically easier to put together. I don't need Dan's help for any portion of it. And for the metal raised beds that we're making, I needed Dan's help on a couple of things, to hold stuff up straight, or, flip the entire bed over so that we could put hardware cloth on the bottom. Hey, Money Pit Homestead, Miss Lisa, glad you're here. Hope you're well. And so I was thinking I would make 3 more 4x8 raised beds. And if you don't know, we have a bad problem with gophers and stuff like that. And so basically anything put into the ground is like high risk for gophers just eating it. And that's frustrating. It's the worst. So raised beds are nice anyway. They're easier. Sorry. I think they're a lot easier to maintain. Like I rarely have to pull weeds out of them. Like in the spring, maybe from like weeds that blew in. Some of my really low ones I have to pull grass out of. But so far with my 2 cinder block tall raised bed, I haven't really had to pull any weeds out of. I think some cheatgrass blew in last year, but that's so easy to pull. It was like not even a big deal. And then my other really tall raised bed, I don't think I've ever, maybe a little bit of grass that blew in, but nothing. So I think it's a lot easier. And that raised bed has been there for like 3 or 4 years. So I don't think I don't know if I could ever like garden in the ground. I mean, I'm never going to be like someone who's doing market gardening. And so gardening in the ground, that makes a lot more sense because you have more space that way. But I'm so sorry. Right. So they have more room that way if they garden in the ground. That makes sense because they need to make as much money as possible or whatever. So I don't think I'll ever garden not in raised beds. I like it too much. You never got your starts in the ground this year? Well, I don't need a coffee. It's like I just sat down. I was sitting down before. I don't know. I think it's like an anxiety thing because I don't normally yawn like this at this time. Like I think it's like subconscious anxiety or something. It makes me like not breathe enough. So I yawn. I don't know. So I got my last starts in the ground like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which I was like, they're not even going to have time to do anything because our first frost is probably in less than a month. So we probably, like realistically, I'd say we have like 3 more weeks of our growing season. Did I say realistic? I meant realistically. Optimistically, maybe we have another month. Already. I mean, like my stuff just started doing stuff. I'm probably not really going to get a lot of tomatoes. Maybe those sweetheart cherry tomato things. I have a lot of those. Nothing's turned color yet. Oh, yeah. So it was really wet there. Well, if you do raised beds, one of the benefits is if it is wet a lot, they drain better or, drain more than the ground. So maybe that's maybe that's a consideration. I really like the raised beds that we made. We're going to at least, well, in the end, I'd like to have like 9 of those really tall raised beds that I made from metal panels. And so far, that's going really well. So far we have 2 out of at least 3. We want at least 3. And in the end, I'd like 9, but they're like really expensive. So we're only doing like a couple a year. And it's expensive to fill with soil too. But the point was that I needed to find raised beds that were all metal on the outside. And that was because we have huge rodent problems. And I know people are like, why don't you just get a cat? Well, I live on the highway, and we've had a few cats dumped here, and they get hit on the highway almost every time, especially if they're kind of feral. They won't come to us. One time a cat got dumped here, and she did come to me, and she was nice, so I took her to the shelter, and she got adopted. But other than that, is like, it's just too risky. I don't want to risk the cat's life just because of some mice and stuff. So that's just not worth it to me. If you didn't see my community post about my water bucket trap, now that works really good. Like, I caught like 30 something in 2 nights of mice. I know it sounds terrible, but I live in the middle of nowhere. The mice, they come from everywhere, and they find awesome shelter and food, probably, with the chickens or whatever. And, excuse me. I think the water bucket traps, I use a 2.5 gallon bucket, and I fill it about a third with water, and then I put sunflower seeds on top, completely covering the water. They float, and so it doesn't look like there's water in there to the mice. And it's kind of an unfortunate way. I would really prefer something that was immediate, but this is much more efficient than any snap trap or anything, and it's safe. As long as the thing is not small enough to get in there and drown, it's safe for all the wildlife. And what I do with all the mice is I dump them out in the field, and the ravens eat them. So the ravens are stoked, and I'm feeling okay with the whole situation. It's not my favorite, but if you don't know, we had to completely renovate our bathroom, and also, the bathroom was due to mice. We didn't know because you couldn't see, but the drain that was so it was like a triangle tub, in the corner, and it had like a housing, and the drain, the stuff around it wasn't sealed. So like the drain was here, and then the hole for the drain was like this big, and it went just out to the world. Like the mice could just go in. We had no idea. And why would we? So the mice were like living under the tub, and that was like in the tub's cavity. It was so dumb. I don't know. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll try to explain it again. So we had to renovate our bathroom. And then due to pack rats, we had to completely replace our heat ducting. And I think we did that last September. So if you've been around that long, I've probably talked about it before. And that cost a lot of money. So we're kind of like at our wits' end with rodents. And what's dumb is like I love them all. But if you're looking to trap pack rats, so far I have a small live trap that works, it's specifically for rodents like pack rats and squirrels and stuff. So it's the right size. And pack rats are big. Like they're big. And they like Twix. So far I've caught 2 pack rats, which I'm actually kind of proud of. It's kind of weird to be proud. It's like a big step for me in terms of like being someone who does homestead things and someone who loves animals to the point to where I let them walk all over me, right? So it was kind of like a proud moment where I'm like, you know what, I'm trying to protect my investment of my house. Like replacing the ducting cost $4,000 because we chose to do metal so that the pack rats couldn't get in. And then the renovation for the bathroom was like $2,000 or $3,000. So we've spent, and then not to mention all the rodents that get into the cars and chew on the car wires. Pack rat's gonna pack, I know, but they're so cute. They have the best fluffy tails. Anyway, Anyway, so that's been like a big step for me. And then I give, the whole trap to Dan, and then he, does the last part. I'm like, I'll trap them, you take care of them. And we joke about it, and we call it my trap line, because I think we were watching one of those Alaska shows when I started doing that a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I gotta go check my trap line. Sorry, we're dorks. But yeah. Yeah, they can really be a pain. So if you ever need a horror story of why you need to work on the mice population, I have that for you. And it's not very exciting, but really, I think the water bucket traps are probably the most efficient, low cost. Like, we always have sunflower seeds, the black oil sunflower seeds, because we also feed them to the chickens and stuff. And so, and they're not very expensive. I think it's like $20-something for 40 pounds, and that lasts a bajillion years. Well, not really. Okay, it lasts a long time. If I was just using it for the traps, then it would last even longer. But we feed it to our animals. So, I don't know. I gotta go. Sorry. The baby geese, I put up a photo, and they are almost as big as my other geese. And then someone was trying to make me feel bad or whatever. They were just like, well, of course, because those white geese are a small breed. And I was like, I just think it's amazing, okay? I think it's amazing that these little 8-week-old, they're not little, okay? They're big. These 8-week-old baby geese are as big as my 4-year-old geese. Like, they're huge. They're just huge. And I'm just like, they're only 8 weeks old. Well, are they going to be like triple that size? Or more, quadruple the current size. And I'm just like, I'm blown away. I am. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And they're such good looking geese too. And I think it's because I never really saw a lot of other geese besides white geese in person. It seems like a lot of people just have the white geese. And I like how the African geese I have, they're like a gray, and then they have like a dark stripe down, and they have all their grown up feathers now. And they've been living with the ducks permanently now for a couple weeks. And if you know anyone in the Oregon area, or anyone who's willing to drive down here, if they want a couple white geese, we'll be giving them away to whoever wants them for free. Because the reason why we got the baby geese was because the white geese were really hurting our drake, our duck drake, and like making him bleed and stuff. And we're like, we can't have mean, okay? Like, there's no room for mean animals on our property because there's nice animals elsewhere. You know what I mean? So the one thing we didn't want to risk, though, is getting rid of the white geese before the new babies started sounding like actual geese. So they still are peeping at 8 weeks old. They have hardly, they just, they still peep, peep, peep. I thought they'd be like honking by now, but we'll see. Maybe probably in a couple more weeks. You have 2 white geese. You need a female. Well, if you want to take a road trip. People apparently do that road trip thing a lot, but they're here if you want them. So I think something that has helped with because we haven't had a lot of issues with predation, and obviously I can't prove it, but I don't want to risk the possibility. I think that the white geese being loud has deterred predators from my animals, my chickens and stuff, and ducks. So we didn't want to have a lull in the time of loudness, if that makes sense. So that's why we decided to get more geese, because we didn't want to risk our other animals for a change, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't know what genders I have for the geese. I have watched quite a few YouTube videos on how to sex them, but I've been really hesitant to do so. One, I'll have to catch them, and now they're bigger and they're faster. Two, so I should have done it a while ago. Two, every time I saw them, like on the video, YouTube videos, they poop. They poop every time they touch their vent. Every time. And I just like, ugh. Oh, I guess I have gloves. That wouldn't be as bad. But goose poop is stinky. Stinky. Like, and it was crazy. So, I brewed my chicks and apparently geese in a 50-gallon tote. And I love doing that because the tote, you can just wash it out real quick. It's light, it's portable, it's reusable umpteen times until it breaks, right? So I like that. So that's what I use. But the baby geese, they were too big for it at 4 weeks old, 5 weeks old. They were too big. But they still had their baby feathers. And if you don't know, a lot of feathered critters can't really regulate their temps very well until they have grown-up feathers, And so we were nervous because at the time we were still getting probably in the 40s and 50 degrees at nighttime. And we were worried about the baby geese. So we were taking them in and out every day. I don't know. This probably sounds silly to like the real serious like goose farmer. But oh, so sorry. But so we took them out in every day. We made a little space for them in the duck pen so that they could get to know the ducks and the ducks could get to know them. And now they're bigger than the ducks. And it's so funny to watch. So our Drake, his name is Donnie. He's a Cayuga duck, and he sometimes chases the baby geese. But I think the best thing and the most funniest thing that we noticed when we first had them out there with the ducks is that the geese wanted to be a part of the flock, right? So when the ducks were walking in their line, the geese were like trying to also walk in that line train. And so then the ducks would get worried thinking that the geese were like chasing them. And then the geese would so the ducks would like go faster, and then the geese would go faster, and the ducks would start running, and the geese would start running and put out their arms. And it was like just this like miscommunication, like chaos. It was so funny. It was so cute because the geese are just like, I thought we were part of your flock. I don't understand. And the ducks are like, what the hell is going on? See you, Money Pit. Have a great evening. So that was pretty funny. The other really funny things with the baby geese so far is that I watched them run around in circles, and they would like run in a circle, and in that circle they'd jump in the pond and jump out and like keep running circles all the time with their wings out. And I just think it's so funny. But yeah, so that's the update on the baby geese. And if you saw my community post about me keeping pet hornworms, I fed the first batch to my quails and bantam chickens and my big chickens. Sorry. Because I probably found about 60 total tomato hornworms. They could be tobacco or tomato on my tomatoes on Monday. And then a couple of days before that, like I had 2 sessions of just finding a ton of hornworms on my tomatoes. Hey, to be or not to be, hope you're well. You want ducks? They're okay. I like them as an animal. I don't really like caring for them very much. It's not like hard or anything, but they're really stinky. I I know some people do house them with their chickens, but I don't, and that's because ducks are wet. They're just wet, and they poop wet, and they stink. And so their whole house is just like a stinky, wet mess, and they really like to. You have a swarm in your tree right now? Of course you do. That's crazy. It's a little bit late. I think one thing I don't really love about them is if you have any wet spot in your yard, they're going to root around in it and forage and stuff, and they make holes everywhere. Like, not just little beak size holes, bill size holes. They make them really big, actually, and it can be, I don't know, maybe a little hazardous. But so if it's like wet anytime, they'll do that anywhere. So, but otherwise, I mean, I probably wouldn't keep ducks necessarily if Dan didn't want to, but he really likes duck eggs. I'm not partial to them, so I could take them or leave them. I don't really like them, to be honest. But they're hardier than chickens, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, because we have had none of our ducks die or get sick or anything. The females are pretty loud. They're not as loud as geese, but they quack a lot. Like, and like like right now, I think, I don't remember what I was gonna say. With their little with the new geese in there, the ducks are extra verbal. So sorry. Golly, I wish I could stop that. Hey, Emma. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going to go. To be or not to be, had a swarm last August. Awesome. Oh, no worries. It's not been very exciting. I did talk about my flowers earlier and our vacation plans and my experience with the journeyman exam thing. Probably nothing that you didn't see on my Facebook. But yeah, so that's just what I'm doing. And right now, like right before I started my live, I was posting about my flowers on the Facebook sales pages, and we'll see how that goes. Like, I know I'll only have some bouquets to sell tomorrow, but I hope, like, someone being interested in them, like, and actually purchasing them would be a lot of validation. I've had quite a bit of validation from like professional flower farmers, but it's not quite the same as like someone liking. It was so exciting. It's not quite the same as someone like actually purchasing. Sorry, I started picking my nails. And so, I don't know, but I have a ton more seeds coming in for more flowers for next year. So I'm pretty excited about that anyway. It'll be fun. And you guys, so this whole vacation thing. So one of the reasons why we haven't gone on vacation or anything is because we weren't able to really trust a whole lot of people with our animals, and I'm kind of a control freak, right? So, and I like my animals like a lot, and my biggest fear with someone coming here and watching our animals is them letting my cat out, and that's because I don't want him to get hit on the highway, because if you've been here a while, you know that a Chihuahua we had got hit on the highway too. She was blind and deaf, and she like just took off, right? Anyway, it was that weird thing. And so I didn't want to that was something I really didn't want to put in someone else's hands, right? And so we had been asking around for farm sitters, and then I asked in the Oregon Homesteader chat group on Facebook, I was asking how much people paid farm sitters, because like I just had like no sort of I had no idea. Like, and then it was really interesting because I got a range of like $15 a day to like $65 a day. And I was like, oh, well, that helps me, but it doesn't help me. But putting that question up got me in contact with someone local to me, which was great. She's actually the local 4-H leader or helper or leader, someone. Anyway, she knows animals, and she said all the right things to me, and I'm like, you're hired. And I cried because like it was like such a relief, because I've not been able to entrust my animals to anybody really. I had my friend Sammy. I trusted her with my animals, and she did a good job, but I didn't want to ask her to do that for like 2 weeks, and because she lives about 40 minutes away, and she wouldn't. That would just be a lot. We would have paid her well, but that's just a lot, and so we didn't want to like put that on her, even though she did do a good job. So I'm really excited about the farm sitter I found, and she's way reasonable priced. I mean, because in my head I was thinking like $100 a day, and I was like, okay, we'll just pay it, because I don't know. And she was considerably less. Like my expectations for the pay was really high, and so that's really great, and it was so relieving. And she didn't make me feel weird about my cat, being worried about my cat. I mean, I guess there's always a chance of him getting out in general. Hopefully, that won't happen. Oh, I just got anxious about it. I don't want to be anxious. I just want to go on our vacation, and I want it to be fine. But we have a lot of time to plan now, and we have our tickets and a place to stay, and now we're going to plan what sort of things we want to do while we're there, and it'll be really exciting. I don't know, we've done like a couple other, like we went to Greece for like a week, and we did an all inclusive vacation thing once, and it was like okay. But this would be a little different. I don't know. It'll be great. It'll be fun. We'll see what happens. I will take pictures. Dan's letting me get a GoPro so that if we go swimming or whatever, or snorkeling, I'll be able to use the GoPro in the water, because without the waterproof housing, it's waterproof to 33 feet, and then you can get housing for it, and it's like a lot more feet. I don't know, 100 or something. So we're going to be looking at those, and that'll be fun, because that'll be fun to have anyway, because I think they're a little bit more rugged than my iPad. So when, I have the tripod out in the donkey area and the donkeys knock it over or the wind blows it over, I think the GoPro is maybe a little bit less likely to break, and it doesn't cost nearly as much as my iPad. Yep. That's the plan. It comes with an extra battery, this thing that we're looking at, like a package deal. And then, yeah, we'll be good, I think. I don't know how much memory to bring, but well, I guess we'll just find out. I mean, the water is 80 degrees. So I don't know, we'll find out. It'll be fine. Whatever happens, it won't be like hours upon hours of filming or something. But I think it'll be great. And at least I could take pictures underwater. I think that'll be cool. But here is the thing. So I'm going to this island that has year-round, 80-degree water, and I'm allergic to swimming suits. So I'm working on looking at like some workout wear that's different material than swimming suits. Well, that's where I'll be using it mostly is in the water, but also the air temps are about the same. Their average temperatures are between 75 and like 90 degrees year round, which is really cool. So it'll be cool. It'll be humid though. But yeah, so we'll see. I think that's a better option than what I have currently though. We'll find out. And let's see what else. So what have you guys been up to in these last couple of weeks? Because I haven't been really present. I don't know. I've been really busy. And not interested in editing videos, even though I have a ton of videos to edit. So busy. And then we've been planning this vacation. So I've been kind of like thinking about that. So I haven't made any videos. I hope you guys like the garden tour. Not much is different. I did some tomato trimming. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot else to talk about. Oh, we had to get a new freezer. That's what I was going to talk about with you guys last time I was going to go live. So one day I went into the well house, which has our big freezers, and I saw that the freezer door was open. And then I saw a puddle of blood on the ground. And then I got really scared and I ran to Dan. I got scared because I knew I left it open. I killed all of our meat. And our big stand-up freezer was basically full. Yep, that was a thing that I did. And it was awful, and I felt terrible, and I cried because I felt so bad, because that's not the first time I've done that. And I had been so good at it. I've done it twice now. And so we decided to get a chest freezer, because that fridge was an upright one. And we're thinking that the chest freezer it will be easier to like close, because sometimes the stand-up one just didn't, I don't know. That's just like the next option. So we got ourselves like a 14.8 or 15.8 square or whatever cubic feet chest freezer. And it's going to be a pain in the butt. And I probably can't reach the bottom. But we're going to look into some organization things. And actually, Dan will probably be mostly picking stuff out of there from the bottom, really. It came with some baskets on top, so we'll put everything that I use in there. But we'll still have the upright freezer because it still works fine, and then I'll be able to use it for my bee stuff. I've only used the extractors that our club has, and they go fast enough, but I also have foundationless frames, so I don't make it go super fast. I haven't noticed the need to make it go really fast. But if you have a ton of hives, that would probably, anybody would want it to go faster. That's okay. I'm probably going to close up shop here pretty soon. Yeah, I finally checked my bees yesterday. And after being stung, I had just like some anxiety and worries. And I was worried that my bees were going to be mean all of a sudden, which was silly. My bees have never been mean. And I was like, well, I just need to check on honeysuckle. And if you guys have been following things at all, honeysuckle was a colony that I actually thought was going to die. I thought they were going to die this spring because she was laying drones. Then all of a sudden I get to this colony and there's a brand new queen in there. So I feed them, and then they start getting robbed by other bees. And that was a whole thing. So I moved the colony. And when I was like rooting around in there or whatever I was doing, I opened the lid and the queen was on the inner cover and she flew away. So that was fun. I actually have that all on film, that whole situation. I just need to edit it, but oh my goodness gracious. So she flew away and I like walked away for a while. I was like, I don't even know what to do. Like I closed up and I walked away. And so I went back a little while later and I found her clustered near where the hive was before I moved it, like 2 days prior. And so I grabbed her, tried to put her back in. She flew away again, but I hit her into the hive because I was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I hit her out of the sky. Anyway, so I finally checked on them yesterday, and I think they swarmed because I found an open queen cell. Just one, though. And the population wasn't as high as I thought it would be. So, because I slacked and I didn't give them more space. And so that was silly. So that was all my fault, but I gave them another box, and the queen was laying eggs. I didn't find the queen, whatever queen was in there. But there was a queen laying eggs in there. And then I was like, oh, well, that went so fast, even though I was like, I'm only going to check one. It's hot. It was going to be like 100 something yesterday. And I was like, well, that went so fast. I may as well just check goldenrod. And goldenrod was the colony that I made from 2 queenless splits that people said I couldn't do, but I did. And they are doing so good. They're equal strength to clover. I think they might be a little stronger than clover. Oh, that sounds fun, Sue. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you or something. Anyway, bye. I hope you have a great weekend. My brain. Oh, so they're doing really great. And I stopped feeding a couple weeks ago, and I went in and a lot of colonies have found, I think the rabbit brush started blooming and the knapweed started blooming. So they've been bringing in some stores, and obviously it's likely also some sugar syrup. I'm probably not getting anything this year. Just a thing. Just not probably getting any honey again this year because of the drought. But they were doing so good, and that took not very long. I was like, well, I might as well just go check Rose. And so I went over there, and they're doing not as good as I thought they would be. In terms of population, they were only like 2 boxes out of 3. But I think they'll be fine because their laying pattern was really good. They just had a bad interruption, and they got robbed a little bit too. So that was interesting. And then I was just like, well, I may as well check clover because it's the last one. And they're also doing well. So everyone's doing well, in my opinion. And I was pleased. And I was really proud of myself for finally getting in there and checking the bees, even though I was like worried about it. And then, which is so silly because I get worried. And I've never had a bad experience checking my own bees. And so it's just, I just like freaked myself out. I don't know. But, well, with that, I've been on here 1 hour, and I'm sure you guys are busy and want to get going. So I will leave it at that. But be sure to, comment on stuff and say hi. And I know I'm not putting out a lot of videos right now, but yeah, I find actually doing the process of checking the bees relaxing as well, but I have anxiety. And so the whole before process is stressful, but once I'm doing it, it's fine and it's great. Like every time it's great when I check my own bees anyway. And I don't know why my brain does that, but that's just anxiety for you. But yeah, so I hope you have a great weekend too. And thanks for taking some time out of your day to hang out with me here on Farmstead Smith. And I will see you next time.